In this video, we're going to analyze the short and immediate term in the crypto market. You're currently looking at the Bitcoin chart in the hourly time frame, but first, let's provide some context. Look at the daily chart. Bitcoin itself, having updated its structure, can be said to be in a macro bearish channel, which is normal after a strong bullish impulse, which they have channeled to eventually continue the bullish trend in the market. And now, adding to that structure, which we say will be vital to break with great strength to expect great continuations in the market. What we will see in the hourly chart is that once we define that structure, we can see here a level of great relevance which eventually, just a few hours ago, was attempted to be broken. And now we would be validating the structure. Soon I will share with you what we think may happen for the short and immediate term. But first, look at the following. Let's analyze this part of the chart. In this 5-minute chart, in the live session we did yesterday on Crypto Insight, we were analyzing that the price, after generating a trap scenario and coming from a very aggressive, strong bearish impulse that clearly scared any investor. Our idea in this context, when the price was around this area, is to prioritize the search for long positions in the market. In Bitcoin, we are already looking for it. Notice how we are looking for the creek. In Bitcoin, we were already starting to look for it. Why? Hey, it's very early, but if you're confirming to me that you're breaking structure, why wouldn't this be a trap? Why aren't you here clearing this recent high that you've validated for me? It might be a trap, therefore, hey, any structural validation can be good to look for that long. We'll see if all this is committed to being a macro bullish accumulation work, seeking a structural breakout to the upside and taking us higher. And now, returning to a slightly longer time frame, the hourly time frame, see how that long idea, which started around this area, has managed to prosper up to a very relevant structure. Remember that in Crypto Insight, we don't try to predict the future, as it's completely impossible. And if someone tells you they can, please stop listening to that person. Just as we were looking for this long in Bitcoin, we were also looking for it in Ethereum in this area. So take a look. Having heard the 5-minute chart, when Ethereum was around this point, we were analyzing different possibilities and feasibilities of looking for a long in the Ethereum market. Let's go down to 5 minutes. This is already going to war. We are already going to war. Okay, here is a deceleration because maybe the long sense. Here we see stopping volume. It attacks again. Here we see absorption. It attacks again. We see absorption again. It attacks and absorbs. Hence, from this micro process of bullish accumulation, it is rocketing you upwards. Okay, hey, let's look up. Let's look for the click. And returning to the hourly time frame, let's see how that long idea that was born around this point has directly gone to look for a price structure that is completely invisible to the eyes of the average retail investor. Because remember, at Crypto Insight, we work with price structure, and in a chart, we count the lines we use and find relevant. So, looking back at the Bitcoin chart, what are we seeing? They have just broken an important structure, and now the price is validating it. On the other hand, what we are seeing in the Ethereum chart is that its price is coming to look for a structure of great importance, as it is nothing more than a boundary of a potential future event. And here we are reacting in Ethereum. If we look at the XRP chart, notice here we have the accumulation process of the macro size that comes, breaks, and leaves us here a small gap of weakness that it has now come to validate. We are in a zone of relevant structure, as you have seen in Ethereum and in XRP. We can say something very similar for the Solana chart, as if you notice, here we have a level that we consider of great importance, which is very well calibrated. Here the price breaks, recognizes it, and now recently it recognized it, and now it has generated a small trap that we have been analyzing live with the Crypto Insight team, and at this key structural point we find ourselves now. Now, we're going to see cases very similar to Bitcoin's, because remember that Bitcoin had just broken a relevant structure and is now validating that structure. So we're going to see cases like, for example, Polkadot's, because look how they are clearly working on that structure. They come to recognize it, move away and break it. And now we are in that slight attempt. We'll see if we validate the structure or not. Likewise, Rune tells us the same. Here we have a structure that we had drawn a long time ago. It was completely forgotten. Well, the price validates it to the millimeter, breaks strongly as it has to do, and also comes to validate that structure to start a moderate bearish continuation. And don't worry, I'm going to explain soon what implication and meaning all this has. Look at the case of Chainlink, where I can tell you that we have updated the structure because it had a slightly different working alpha angle, and look at how recently the price validates as well. The structure moves away and breaks strongly. I don't know if you're noticing, but there are two structural variants in the crypto market. The ones we've been seeing lately are those that reflect something similar to what Bitcoin is doing, which comes to break a relevant structure, and there it is to see if it validates, which by the way, it just did. And then there's the type of cryptocurrency that hasn't broken and is responding to its structure. Well, under that hypothesis, in the live stream we did a few minutes ago with the Crypto Insight community, going to the 5-minute time frame, we were talking about in a scenario where we were doing very aggressive trading. The idea would be to wait for that trap to see if it offers a buying opportunity. Similarly, we were talking about exactly the same thing in Bitcoin, waiting for a trap of that level with momentum that can offer a bold entry long to accompany us in the movement. Going to the 1-minute chart in the live stream as well, what we were valuing was that after the breakout, in the validation, in this one here, right at this point, we could enter long at least until the structure. And hey, since we don't have a crystal ball and we don't try to guess or predict the future of the market, if finally the price wants to treat this whole event as a macro trap scenario, which of course is on the table, we would already be exposed and positioned long in the market, so that if that scenario, which obviously everyone is unaware of, were to occur. And this is probably what we will show you in the next video, when the price has developed a bit more, whether it is up or down. Because remember, what is the philosophy? If we don't have an ego and claim not to know what the price is going to do next, we are going to look for a way, a methodology that allows us to benefit. In this case, for example, from an upward move without wanting to have the crystal ball, without knowing if this will finally continue to prosper. But in these stretches, in these journeys, we have already capitalized, we have already put the cash in our pocket. I hope this is understood. And now, going back to the hourly time frame of Bitcoin, we're going to tell you what we think could happen in the short term. But before, welcome to Crypto Insight, your ethical and moral channel for cryptocurrency technical analysis. Here, we really know what we're talking about. We conduct advanced technical analysis that has been developed for over 12 years. We upload videos several times a week. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, let me know and leave a comment with your opinion. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so you don't miss the next opportunity. Look, here we are simply going to work on a hypothesis. If we are seeing that certain cryptos, especially Bitcoin, are coming from a structural break and are now validating, and at the same time we see Ethereum that has not broken that structure, because we cannot assess that in Bitcoin and all those cryptocurrencies that also accompany with this type of price structure, it could be a trap under this hypothesis that is nothing more than an idea without trying to predict the future. Then let's evaluate if finally the price manages to respond and at least offers us an upward stretch in this 1-hour chart. This pertains to Ethereum. Remember, the greatness lies in knowing how to trade and position yourself in the market, and the more you anticipate these operational ideas, your risk will be much lower. Hence, in this morning's live session that we did with the Crypto Insight team, we were already looking for those ideas in advance. Regarding XRP, we'll have to see if this reaction is 100 genuine. Here, it has already broken a micro resistance that we were evaluating in the live session. It seems like the trend continues upward. Ultimately, what's the idea here? That there's some kind of reaction as it's happening and that we see short-term projection. At the end of the day, ignoring the drawing, that's beside the point. The idea is to go long. Similarly with Solana, we're in a relevant structural zone coming off a micro trap. Let's see if this continues to progress and offers us, at the very least, some movement in that direction. Here, we'll need to closely monitor cryptocurrencies like Polkadot, as frankly, we don't know if the price will want to react to the trend line and if it will want to pull back home from here. Frankly, we don't know, but what opportunity could Polkadot potentially offer? Hey, in the scenario where this breaks upward, or in a validation, we could seek that continuation. Basically, it's about waiting for a specific setup and if it occurs, working with it. But as I said, we frankly don't know how the markets will react. Will this ultimately be a macro trap? We'll know soon. Rune is basically telling us the same thing. Who knows if they want to work a flat pattern here? They've clearly worked the trap we were analyzing in this morning's live session. But hey, of course it makes sense for this to go up. Maybe there's the structure, and we don't know if that will be the final point in Rune, for example, to bring down the market. Which of course would make sense, however, if we finally say that the entire crypto ecosystem is working on a macro trap that is yet to be decided, this would ultimately confirm the structure, and in that confirmation, it would make a lot of sense. A lot of sense to look for a long entry in the market. That would make sense indeed. Something equivalent or very similar to what we saw on the Chainlink chart, as we just broke that structure. Now, of course, it makes sense for us to be going up, at least until that structure. That's the idea. And here we'll see what they want to do if they want to work a flat pattern to finally go lower. But as it's still undecided and we're already coming off a micro trap that we've been talking about in this morning's live session to prioritize longs, there's still room here, at least until here. And really, if we saw a breakout with confirmation, this would be the ideal point to look for a long entry in the market. Here, the big unknown. The big question is how we're going to work out this development to confirm if we're really facing that trap that takes us up or not. On the contrary, if we're facing the flat pattern that takes us down. In the end, we don't have to try to be fortune tellers, but within these ideas that may happen given the price structure. We're sharing with you that we certainly have that priority, that bullish bias. Just realize that this bullish bias priority, those who were in this morning's live session could have caught the early opportunities in Bitcoin, the validations of the long creek on the structure. In the current situation, partials are already being closed. Profits are being taken from this long idea, and no matter if the price goes to hell tomorrow, we don't care. Understanding this and having it click in your head with that explanation can determine an improvement in your perspective of technical analysis and trading that you can't imagine. And before explaining Bitcoin to you, look at the BGB chart and remember how we were monitoring this quote, which is the Bitget token, as it had reached the all-time high. And that's why in the last video, we were already telling you that it was a bad idea to start buying immediately without any sense the asset after seeing how much it has risen. It doesn't make any sense, of course. And that's why we're going to keep it on the radar to see when it might offer us some kind of opportunity to re-enter long positions. Like I said, we're going to wait for an opportunity, which means that if we don't see specific things we're waiting for and the price keeps falling, we won't have entered into the long position and it won't affect us. Okay, we've defined this defensive zone on the BGB chart because we see how the price has repeatedly pushed against it. And now we're considering a hypothesis in which we could be in a trap. And here we'll see if it will want to recover in the case that it does. In the confirmation of the structure from the defensive zone, we could then consider entering long positions in this quote, knowing that we would obviously have to work with a very tight stop loss. If we lose, we want to lose very little. And if we win, we want to win a lot, that's clear. The stop loss has to be in your library and within the library, in your Bible. As for Bitcoin then, what are we going to consider? Well, we're going to consider if they finally want to treat this movement as a trap and seek such recovery, in which case it would be very interesting to be able to operate it and continue upwards. That said, what needs to be mentioned is that you have to be very careful, as the fact that we're breaking such relevant structures in so many markets like in Polkadot, in Rune, in Link. Well, of course, we have to be cautious. That's why I've told you how important it is to know when to enter the market, because if we enter prematurely in an operation that has an idea of recovering to go upwards, under the notion that this is a trap, if we do it prematurely with this idea, we've already taken the profit and we don't care if the price falls. I'm serious. Understanding what I just told you is going to change everything for you. Don't pretend to know the future, because that's unthinkable. Still, as we're speculators, tell me, what do you think? Do you believe we're in a market trap that will recover for a bullish, impulsive move, or, on the contrary, are we in a validation that sooner rather than later will take us downward? Leave me your opinion in the comments. Also, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell icon so that YouTube notifies you of future uploads. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and other trading or cryptocurrency communities. Good luck with your trading and see you in the next one.